two will make waves and watch the world into a new era filled with love and connection, freedom for all without oppression. But it is up to you. Yes, I'm watching this behind this screen to make the effort because time is of the essence, and only together can we make it to the fourth second.
Wow. Wow.
Do you hear me well? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you saw the challenges that the humanity faces. This was a video that I took from YouTube from the National Geographic collection of videos. Quite impactful, quite challenging, but very true. You know, we are in this wonderful planet with wonders given us by nature, by the planet, and we are screwing it every single minute, every single moment. With lots of inequalities, lots of pollution, climate changes, hunger, illnesses, and so many challenges that are kind of difficult for us to grasp, and sometimes give us no hope, in the sense that there are so many challenges and so little that we can do. But that's not the case. We are here together, as Cheryl mentioned and Scott mentioned, together because we have the power to transform our lives, and we have the power to transform the world in which we are blessed to live in by means of activities and actions that we can undertake. So basically, these challenges, as you reviewed them yesterday, are not also challenges that society are facing alone. States and governments and NGOs and entrepreneurs and corporations know that we have an important task ahead. And that's why I'm going to repeat a bit of what you talked about yesterday, but it's important to realize. This is the Sustainable Development Goal Agenda, the 2030 Agenda. And the history of the SDG Agenda 2030 is rooted in the global efforts to address pressing social, economical, and environmental challenges. The journey began in the year 2000, when world leaders gathered at the United Nations to adopt the Millennium Development Goals. These goals were aimed at addressing issues such as poverty, hunger, disease, and education by the year 2015. While the Millennium Goals achieved significant progress, they were criticized for being too narrow in scope and not fully addressing the root cause of these global issues. So in 2015, the deadline for the Millennium Goals they approached, it became clear that a more comprehensive and ambitious framework was needed to continue the momentum. In 2012, then, at the UN Conference on Sustainable Development in Rio de Janeiro, the idea was born. Over the next 3 years, extensive consultations and negotiations took place involving governments, civil society, businesses, and other stakeholders from around the world. This inclusive process led to the development of these goals, these 17 that you are watching here in the screen, that address a wide range of issues, including poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, peace, and justice. The SDG Agenda 2030 was officially adopted then by all United Nations states on September 25th, 2015, marking a new era of global commitment to sustainable development. The agenda sets out a 15-year plan, very comprehensive, to achieve these goals, with a focus on leaving no one behind and ensuring that all people can enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. But as you know, countries are facing challenges like the ones that you reviewed yesterday on the achievements of Papua New Guinea on these goals. So this is, just to wrap up, a universal call to actions to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030, all people can enjoy peace and prosperity. They are not only restricted to be only solely devoted or implemented by United Nations or by government organizations, but they are there to be adopted by the private sector and by communities, by us, by all of us today here gathered, specifically because the youth component of the implementations of these goals are super important. For your leaders like yourself, understanding and engaging with the sustainable agenda is crucial because it empowers you to contribute to creating a world that is not only equitable and just, but resilient and thriving for future generations. It's important that these goals are always for you at hand when each one of you is deciding the step you would like to take in your careers. As Sherry was mentioning, the sky is the limit for you in this moment in your professional and personal careers. When you are decided what to do, your creativity and your ingenuity are there then to take you to the skies. It's super important then to engage with the SDGs and to be prepared to be global citizens, to be aware of the broader impact that our actions and decisions have on the planet, and to have a sense of responsibility for our own families, for our society, and our local communities. One of the goals that I like the most is goal 17, the one that talks about partnerships. Partnerships are we are here together because we are partnering with your Kectil program. And that's the way we think that we need to move forward in this world, bring like-minded individuals and organizations together to create synergies that leads to innovation and creativity, creating more that we can build on our own. This journey toward a sustainable future isn't easy. It demands resilience and a steadfast commitment to our shared vision. The road may be long, but I believe, and in GLIPA we believe, that we can reach our destination with unwavering determination and collective action. Let's push forward, inspired by possibilities that lie ahead. Nikhil, I pass the baton to you.
Thank you, Maria. What a wonderful overview of the SDGs. My name is Nikhil Marathe. Sherry, thank you for introducing us. It's such a privilege to be here. Honestly, this is a wonderful group of people, and it was so nice to hear about all the work that you are doing, the youth around the world. I'll briefly talk about what we are. You see that logo on the top left, which is the GLIPA. So GLIPA is the Global Intellectual Property Alliance. And what we do is we bring together the entire intellectual property ecosystem to help innovators like you succeed in all the things that you saw on the previous slide, the SDGs, to empower your communities, to make sure the smart ideas that you have an opportunity to succeed, grow, and create billion-dollar companies. Hopefully, I'm expecting a few to come out of this Kectil program too. So, what is intellectual property? If you ask, intellectual property are creations of the mind. So, whether there are different kinds of intellectual property, you have probably heard of the word patents, a patent or a patent, depending on which part of the world you are. A patent is something that a new technology that you can get rights to develop exclusively. So there are other intellectual properties such as trademarks, copyrights. And why are they important when you are innovating and creating new business? The reason they're important is because when you put your heart and soul into developing new ideas around the world in your own communities, what you don't want is all that effort, all the money that you poured in, the hard work that you put in, the ecosystem that you built, to be taken, the output of that to be taken and just copied by somebody else somewhere else, right? You don't want that. And so intellectual property is the right that gives you ownership of your ideas. Okay, so that's one. So how does that improve society? It improves society because it creates the incentives, right, for you to put that effort, put that money in, so that you know that you will have some intellectual property that comes with your effort that you can then drive to grow your business. We just heard, just before this session, we heard about Lennox talking about his business that he started with leftover parts of a banana tree. Why is that? We think about innovation. Innovation actually happens on the ground. It doesn't happen in these big cities, in the large cities that, where you hear about technology, high tech, and you think, okay, innovation probably happens only in Silicon Valley or maybe only in Bangalore or one of these big tech hubs. But innovation happens on the ground. And we at Global IP Alliance, we want to help everybody around the world first realize the importance of innovation and protecting your innovation through intellectual property, and then bringing it together to bring it to life. How do we bring it to life? I'm going to hand over. Maria, if you could go back to the three slides before for the SDGs briefly. So very briefly, what these slides cover are all of the SDGs are directly tied to the value of intellectual property, whether it is reducing poverty. How do you reduce poverty? By using IP right to stimulate economic growth in your neighborhoods, in your communities, in your countries, right? Giving people employment, good health and well-being, zero hunger, providing education, gender equality. They all come together. I'm not going to dwell on these slides because you can all read through it, and we'll be sharing that after the session. But you get the point. You are all here because when you see opportunities, when you see problems around you, you actually see that as an opportunity instead of being afraid of it. I encourage you to jump in, look at every problem that you see as an opportunity, and that's why you're here. And Kectil is there. The Global IP Alliance is here to help you take this forward. I'm going to hand it over to Scott now. Mafi, if you could go back to the move on to the GLIPA slide. And he's going to talk about how the Global IP Alliance is bringing the entire IP ecosystem together, what it comprises of, and how you can be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. So I want you to think of the Global Intellectual Property Alliance as an organization that is here to help you. And as Nikhil was saying, there are so many important things you need to know about if you're innovating. Mafi laid out the SDGs, and you saw how and Nikhil tied it together with intellectual property. Every single SDG relies on intellectual property to be successful. And at the end of the day, every intellectual property relies on people like you to be successful, because nothing happens unless people have ideas to make things happen and make the world a better place. And so what the Global Intellectual Property Alliance is all about is helping to educate you on what you need to do and helping to support you to make your ideas, your dreams a reality. What you should know is that the Global Intellectual Property Alliance, first off, it's an international organization. We're all over the world. And by the way, you should know that Maria actually is from Colombia. Nikhil's actually from India. And it's just an example of how we've brought people from around the world together. But we literally are trying to help every single person on this planet, because everybody has an idea. And at the same time, it's one thing to have an idea, but it's another thing to take it from your head and to get it into people's hands. And so many people don't know how to do that. One thing is you could get it into somebody's hands, but as Nikhil was saying, if somebody copies it and sells it for a cheaper price, you're not going to have a business anymore. And it's the important role of intellectual property to give you the rights you need, as Nikhil was saying, to own your idea so that you can do with it what you want. What you see here is the way that the Global Intellectual Property does this. So at the blue top circles, the creators. You can be an inventor, you can be an artist, you can be an entertainer, you can be a startup, you can be a student, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter how much money you have. If you've got an idea, we want to help you get it again from your head into people's hands. So that's the creators. That's everybody who we're trying to support around the planet. But the interesting thing is, the only way to get your idea from your head into people's hands and to truly have it be successful is to properly protect it. And that's why you see at the bottom left the protectors. And so we also have, as part of our organization, a network of intellectual property offices, intellectual property attorneys, business people, strategists, consultants. Intellectual property is actually pretty complicated. And our goal with Global Intellectual Property Alliance is to make it simpler, make it faster, make it cheaper, make it easier for everybody around the world to utilize it. Again, to make the world a better place as fast as we can, to make those SDGs a real reality. And then on the bottom right, what you see is one thing to have an idea, it's another thing to protect it, but how do you get it into people's hands? How do you enable that? And so the Global Intellectual Property Alliance also includes corporations, venture capitalists. These are the organizations, these are the people who invest. These are the people who have the manufacturing facilities. These are the people that have the connections with the stores that can put your idea on the shelves and get it into people's hands. And so, again, it's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to get it into people's hands. Here is the ecosystem, and the Global Intellectual Property Alliance is bringing people together in all aspects of the ecosystem together to make the world a better place. And that's what we want to do to help you. I wanted to also just share with you our 3 pillars. And so you should understand how we think about things with the Global Intellectual Property Alliance. First and foremost, we're about people. We're about every single person on this planet has the right, the privilege, that everybody has value, and we want to make sure that we are connecting with them. So everybody in the room, all 250 of you, everybody who's watching us on the internet, we want to help each and every one of you. This is nice that I'm speaking to you as a group. This will help give you some information, but ultimately, hold on one second. Apologize for that. So but ultimately, the only way that you're going to actually have things happen is if we build relationships with you. And so we want to know who you are. We want to know where you are. We want to know what you need, and we want to find somebody who can truly help you as a person, as a human being, so that you can get your idea from your head into people's hands. And the only way to do that is with trust. And we want to build relationships of trust. You need to know, if you talk to us, if you share idea with us, that you're going to, it's not going to be given away, that we're going to give you good advice. So just know that that's the foundation of our organization: people, relationships, and trust. Our 3 pillars are around IP awareness and education. Today, you're getting some IP awareness, right? I wouldn't call it an education, but I would say this is some good information. To truly get good at this, we want to give you the opportunity to learn and to grow your knowledge base so that you can understand all the things that you need, again, to bring your idea from your head into people's hands. So we are working with schools all over the world, K through 12, universities, and we encourage you to participate in that journey. Intellectual property education is one of the most important things you'll ever do if you truly want to make a difference on this planet. The IP ecosystem collaboration is our second pillar, and we showed you the 3 parts of the ecosystem. And our job is to bring everybody together. We truly want to connect you with protectors and enablers and get your ideas again into the marketplace. And then IP diversity and inclusion is our 3rd pillar. And this is simply about, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter what you believe in, doesn't matter what you look like. We want to help every single person on this planet. Everybody has an idea. Everybody deserves to be included. And that's why we're talking to you today. And you see our goal is about empowering intellectual property to advance society. As Nikhil and Mafia has shared with you, intellectual property is the incentive. If you create something and you know people are going to copy it, you're not going to spend much time on it. But if you know you can protect it, you know you can own it, you know you can do with it what you want, know that you can make a lot of money from it, then you are utilizing the power of intellectual property, and then you are going to truly make the world a better place, advance society. That's what the Global Intellectual Property Alliance is all about. And so we encourage you to join our journey. You should understand that it's been a 21-year journey so far. It started in the state of Georgia. It went through the United States. And then the last several years, we've been global. And you should know we have the India IP Alliance launched this year. We've got regional IP alliances. The bottom line is our website is GLIPA.org. And if you go to our website, contact us. We are happy to help. You can also follow up the Kectil. Sherry Knowles has an amazing organization, and she's an intellectual property attorney. So she is a wealth of knowledge, and she's also on our board. So she's also a great person to contact and to figure out kind of the next steps. And again, we are just so happy and pleased to be a part of this conference, and look forward to having you join our journey and helping to make the world a better place. So with that, I'll hand it back over to Sherry.
Okay. Wow. What a wonderful story. Am I on? Okay. Am I back on the screen? Okay, wonderful. Wow. I'm so impressed by what you've done in a short amount of time. And as we said, there are a lot of synergies and a lot of parallels between the Kectil program and the Global IP Alliance. We're both reaching out to people all over the world to create a global network for the betterment of society. I love the focus on the SDGs, because that gives us a goal. We need goals, right? We need to have something that says we need to satisfy this, not just abstractly. So that tells us these are 17 things that we need to work on. And of course, it's going to be innovators and inventors that get us there, and the people who are showing so much creativity. I'd love to hear from the GLIPA team on how did you manage to create such a big global network? How did you reach out? Just the nuts and bolts of how did you create the organization? Because I know you're involved with people in so many countries. I've met a number of them, and you had the global conference, but you're also involved with, I think, with WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization. And I think that once people heard your idea, everyone wanted to jump on board. So I don't know who wants to answer that. Maria, Nikhil, Scott, but tell us the nuts and bolts of how you created such a big organization.
Maria, do you want to, or Nikhil, do you want to say something? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So it's simple, but it's complicated, right? Whoops. It's complicated when you think of the world just being gigantic and all these people and all these organizations. It's kind of scary, isn't it? But it's an example of what I want each of you to come away from this conversation. Don't think of how hard it is. Don't think about how big it is or how complicated it is. Think about how you can make the world a better place. And when you do that, when you truly put your heart into it, when you truly care, when you truly use your brilliant mind, you will see things come together. And I'm telling you, that's what's happened here. We put an idea out there, like Sherry said. I don't know why nobody else had already done it. We believe we're the only NGO in the world that is truly trying to bring the entire world together around intellectual property. There's lots of amazing organizations all over the world that are doing things to represent corporations and lawyers and inventors and artists. There's amazing organizations. There's governments that have created intellectual property offices that are doing great work to serve the citizens of their country. But we believe that we're the only NGO that's bringing everybody together, the government organizations, the universities, the corporations, the other NGOs. And for whatever reason, it didn't exist, but you put the good idea out there and people from all over the world are joining on. And so it's actually been pretty easy. And that's the whole point of this comment is you put something out there, you do it for the right reasons, and it actually, people come to you, they connect with you, and magic starts to happen.
Wow.
Can I add
Nikhil,
something to this?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Sherry, one thing that Scott did not elaborate on, and he's modest, so I'll say it for him. So we think about the Global IP Alliance as something that started 2 years ago, really, right? 3 years ago, and it's suddenly grown into this big tree. But the roots of that tree were really planted 20 years ago. And there is a lesson for Kectil members too, because what they did in Georgia was they started small. They started with 5 programs the first year. They put 2 universities together and they said, who are we not reaching with this message of intellectual property? And they put 5 programs. The next year, they put 10 programs. They got more people involved. As they grew larger, they had over 100 programs going on around the year by about 2018, right? 25 years. And they said, and by then the university said, you're too big, you need to be on your own. So 2018 is when they launched the Georgia Intellectual Property Alliance as a separate nonprofit, and then the US IP Alliance. So it's organically grown. And that the message here for the GLPA, for the Kectil crowd is start small. Sometimes you have these big ideas, test it out, feel it. You will realize maybe something is not working. You will change. If you're smaller and nimble, you'll be able to move and mold your business to a place that will really flourish and thrive. US IPA and the Georgia IP Alliance has done that too. They had some ideas at the beginning that didn't work, and we're now working in a direction that is growing. So something to add to that story.
Oh, that's fantastic. Again, am I on? Can you hear my comments? Okay, wonderful.
Sure, yeah.
So it would be good for you to spend a moment talking about specifically what can the GLPA organization do for innovators in Papua New Guinea. We're here today. We know that we have some wonderfully brilliant. We have people here. We've got youth who are either or want to be scientists. We have artists. We have creators here in Papua New Guinea. How can GLPA help them? We know that Papua New Guinea tends to be kind of isolated. It's an island in Oceania. So how can these people individually use GLPA? Can they join GLPA? Or do they go through organizations? Do you start an organization in Papua New Guinea? So what are the steps?
I'm going to give this one over to Mafi. She's our executive director. By the way, she's in a kind of a smaller country, Colombia. But Mafi, why don't you tell us your perspective on how they can get involved and be a part of GLPA as our executive director?
Being involved with GLPA is kind of easy. You have to have a heart filled with passion for intellectual property. We need here passionate and heartfelt people that truly believe in the power of intellectual property. And that's one of our mottos here, to move the world and to bring a better world with the intellectual property. So as long as you have that passion, as long as you are willing to contribute from your personal point of view, to join others in order to call an actionable project within Papua New Guinea, in order to work with us, we are always welcoming everyone. So the only thing that we need to have from you is to raise your hand. Cheryl knows our contacting email addresses. So you just shoot an email and we get connected to you, have a conversation with you. And once we have that conversation with you, basically you are on the loop. You are already in the group of people and the group of ambassadors taking the gospel from intellectual property around the world. Basically, this is an organization that does not require membership or payment of any fee. So basically, we are willing to have, as Scott was mentioning before, every citizen in this planet joining us in our efforts to bring prosperity through the use of intellectual property. And the sky is the limit, basically. So we are looking forward to have young entrepreneurs, young, passionate people to help us out, not only in Papua New Guinea, but also at a regional level. Currently, we are working on 5 regions in the world: North America, Canada, Latin America, Europe, Africa, and Asia. And then we are aiming also at a later stage to being able to build local alliances, as was shown by Scott. We have a local group of enthusiastic people in India that they decided already to set up their own India Intellectual Property Alliance. So why not having a Papua New Guinea Intellectual Property Alliance in the near future? But in the meantime, just raise your hand, reach out to Cheryl. You know, we have our contact information is on our webpage. Drop me an email, we get in touch with you, and then you are there on the network already. Looking forward to talking to all of you and to see the wonderful thing that we can do together for intellectual property and connect you through a wonderful network of passionate people. You know, the most important thing here is to be passionate with a big heart, willing to help the world with intellectual property, because we need to have advocates, of course, as every, and it's important to tell you here, you know, there are also people that believe that intellectual property is not a good thing, that is giving rights to something that it should be free. So no, we think that it's not for free, that if the things that you have with your intelligence, your creativity, you can live from your creations, you can live from your creativity, but the law and states have to protect whatever comes from your mind, you know. And there are others that would like everything for free, that is free for everything. And no, come on, there are rules and there are opportunities for people with good ideas to come together and advance the world. That's intellectual property provides the basic incentive for people to keep advancing society and advancing a better world. So as we are advocating for intellectual property with the limitations and exceptions that governments are, you know, in the international treaties are putting forward, because every exception, every right has an exception also. It's important for you to know that there are advocates against intellectual property, but we are advocating in favor of intellectual property, not lobbying, not doing policy, just advocating for the sake of the value that we see that intellectual property brings to the whole world. So basically, that's the way in which you can, a long story in order to say, easy, reach out to me and we are happy to talk to you soon.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Maria. And thank you, Scott and Nikhil. We're coming to the end of our panel. You know, people ask me, how do you find youth leaders all over the world? And I say, we put the network out, but they find us. Leaders self-select, and they self-select by standing up, raising their hand and saying, I want to be part of this. I want to do this, showing the same kind of passion that you're talking about, which is to take the next step. So I really encourage all the youth here in the Kectil Papua New Guinea conference, if you are involved in innovation, you know, put your hand up, get involved. And the value of a global networking system cannot be underestimated. Let's say you have a potential to do something in India or something in another country or in Africa or in South America. You might be able to get in touch with GLIPA, and they could at least get you a contact in the country that you're interested in, and then you can see if you can make that happen. And that's the same thing we do with Kectil. We're building out the program, and we're trying to get resources and self-selected youth leaders in every country. So I think that's wonderful. I think at this point, we're out of time, but if we have just one or two questions from the floor, we can take them, or we can go on to the next panel. So I guess for those, the organizers on the floor there at the conference, can you tell us if we have any questions, or if not, we're going to go on to the next panel, and Scott is part of the next panel also. So please let us know. We'll give you a minute just to find out if we have any questions. Okay, and I'll keep talking for a moment while we find that out. It's fantastic and very, very appreciated for our colleagues coming from Atlanta to dial in. It's actually Friday night in Atlanta, and they're taking their Friday night to be with us and to spread the message about GLIPA and the global network. And that is really very meaningful. So are there any questions from the floor, or shall we go to the next panel? Okay, well, thank you, Scott, thank you, Maria, thank you, Nikhil. You are an inspiration, and I really think there's a synergy between Kectil and GLIPA. We're going to grow this network together, and we're bonded by passion, by the fact that we want to reach talented people all over the world to make the world a better place. So this was a wonderful panel, and so well presented and very, very thoughtful. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let's give our panel a hand. And then we're going to go on to the next panel. Thank you so much. So our next panel has to do with youth mental health. And this is something that's very, very important. It's something that we focus on a lot at Kectil. And we have found that the youth in countries all over the world sometimes are struggling with mental health issues, and sometimes they feel like they're not allowed to talk about them. They feel like there's a stigma against it. There are youth who are anxious or depressed or have low self-esteem or have addiction issues, have all kinds of problems. And we want to be able to say that we're all in this together. We're all in this together, that there is no stigma about mental health issues. The more we talk about it and the more we get it out in the open and the more we focus on positive thoughts and proactivity, we'll create a healthier mind. And a healthier mind is more productive. And it also leads to a better, more fulfilling life. So I'm going to introduce two of the panelists, and then we have two others. And I think the moderator of the panel today is going to be Enibokan Orobada from Nigeria. I think she's probably already on the stage now. So we have, again, Scott Frank, who is joining us, and Scott is putting a different hat on now. So Scott has many, many hats. He has his AT&T hat. He's got his GLIPA hat. He also has a hat as a co-author of a very well-known book, which is called Less Stress and More Joy. I've read this book. It's available on Amazon. It's an amazing read, and it's talking about how you can get personal peace in your life, how you can have peace, which then goes into harmony with your environment. And then ultimately, of course, the goal is joy, because we want to live a joyful life. The co-author of this book is Robin Joseph, and she's the executive director of the Peace, Harmony, Joy Alliance. You can find the Peace, Harmony, Joy Alliance on the internet by just doing Peace, Harmony, Joy, alliance.org. We had a webinar at Kectil that was extremely well received, in which Scott and another co-author, Yossi Lehrman, talked about the journey from peace, from personal peace to harmony, and then ultimately to joy. So they are going to be talking about their book and their experience in creating this book and being able to bring this message to so many people around the world. And now I'm going to turn it over to Enibokan, and Enibokan is going to introduce our other two speakers, and then we'll take the podium as the moderator.
Sorry, excuse me, Madam Sherry.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. We haven't gone into the second panel discussion yet, as though we still have questions regarding the first panel discussion. Unfortunately, there's been a glitch in our virtual system, so we weren't able to partake with you guys. So could there be room for any questions regarding the first panel discussion?
Well, it depends whether they're still with us. So are Scott and Nikhil and
Here,
Maria?
I'm happy to do it. I don't know if they are, but I'm happy to answer.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So Scott's here and he can take the questions, because Scott is bonded on two panels.
Perfect.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to direct my question of the thing that I had. I want to, it's mentioned by Scott Frank. He said the GLIPA, Global Intellectual Property Alliance, is a supportive network where it helps also support young achieve their dreams. And as developing nations, we have many problems where we can take them into something innovative to build new things and new things like innovating something. So like in terms of what he said, he want to help us our idea into something innovative. So if we had an idea like in terms in Papua New Guinea, if you come here, actually, if you see it, we have many broken cars. I'll take, for example, we have broken cars all over the place. So if we like to put those things or the cars, we want to rebuild it. We as in Papua New Guineans, if we don't have support, how will they support us in terms of investments, motivations, yeah, and provide that opportunity to help us in terms of investments, and how will they help us? So my question is directed towards Scott Frank and his GLIPA organization. Thank you.
That's a good question, and so my understanding of the question is that you've got cars, you've got probably other opportunities to take something that's old and maybe not doing so much good and transform it into something that's valuable to society, and that means that somebody has some good ideas. That's where the Global Intellectual Property Alliance does come in, and I would encourage you to contact us at glipa.org or to contact Sherry's organization, Kectil. But the question is, before you start sharing that idea, before someone maybe takes or copies your idea, how do you protect it with intellectual property so that you have ownership of the idea? You can do it the way you want to. You can make sure that it gets used properly. You can make sure you get the money from it. And so, again, I think every part of the world has unique situations, unique opportunities, and it's the ideas to make those opportunities come to life that you need to protect before you start sharing them, and to ultimately make the most of them. Hopefully that answered your question.
All right, thank you very much. Can we have at least one last question before we proceed into?
Thank you. Morning, everyone. My question is, we learned yesterday that the majority of the population of PNG is from the rural areas of the country. And the 60% of the population of this country come from the youth. And 40% come from the youth. And imagine 10% of the population is having a better education, and 10% of the youth is unemployed and in the cities roaming around. Okay, my question is, what are some of the approaches and strategies that we, the youths in the country, can bring via global networking in the rural areas of the country and bring positive changes, not in the PNG, but many developing nations of the world? Thank you.
That's a great question, and I think the youth, it's amazing how innovative the youth are. They, I think of the world much differently than a lot of their parents and older people. They see things, they connect dots. They're the future of the world. They're going to have the future innovations, and so I think the key is to make sure they get the education that they need so that they can take again their ideas from their heads into people's hands. And I would love to have an opportunity to talk more with the young people. Young people are You know, they've got a lot of energy, and they have, I think they truly have these ideas about making the world a better place. And so I think, again, the more we can, get intellectual property education and awareness local, and then the next thing is once they understand what they need to do to get their ideas protected and get them enabled. But again, I think it really gets down to connecting them with educators and connecting them with the right people who can get their ideas into the marketplace after they're protected properly.
Okay, great.
right.
Thank you very much. And I think it's good to now go on to the next panel. So we stay on time. We're doing such a good job this morning with our timeliness of our panels. So thank you so much. And thank you to the participants for being so engaged. We're going to change the world through intellectual property, creativity, inventions, innovation, and passion. That's what GLIP is all about. So thank you to Frank, Nikhil, and Maria for just at least introducing the concept that there's a global alliance available there to help. And so now we're going to turn over to our next panel on youth mental health, which, as I said, is such a critical issue for youth in developing countries all over the world. When we had the Kectil program in 2023, we asked them what was the most important module that we studied in 2023, and the youth voted overwhelmingly that it was our attention to mental health issues. So that shows you how critical it is. And you all know in Papua New Guinea, you've got a beautiful country. You also have stress points. You've got stress points. You've got high unemployment. You've got, corruption in the country. You've got a difficulty in educational issues. There's gender violence. There's domestic violence going on. There's tribal violence going on. There are so many issues going on. How in the world do you reach peace, harmony, and get to joy with so much stress all around your life? That's a huge question. And I'm going to turn it over to Enabo Khan, who's going to moderate the session for us. Okay. So can we get Enabo Khan on the feed?
Yes, please. Thank you so much, Sherry. So, of course, we have two of our virtual participants in the person of Mr. Scott Frank, who is very knowledgeable on this topic. You all know him as the president and the CEO of AT&T, and he just talked on the previous panel on innovation and intellectual property. But he also has a very strong stake in mental health, so he's going to be on this panel as well. And then we also have Ms. Robin Joseph. She's very experienced with mental health issues. She's going to be joining us remotely from Atlanta, Georgia. She's also online. Then we have someone who is here with us. He is a very experienced person and has years and years of experience in youth mental health, especially men's mental health, because that is also not well discussed. So please, may we have Mr. Brian Els join me on stage. At least I won't be alone on stage in person. Mr. Els is a communication specialist, a consultant, an entrepreneur. He has extensive experience in the mental health space, especially in youth mental health, and he has worked with various NGOs and youth-led organizations in mental health, and he aims to create value through mentoring, coaching, and personal development for individuals. Now that we have all of our panels on board, and Mr. Els, thank you for joining me physically. I don't have to share the stage alone. It makes me nervous. So now can we all
think we've lost them.
Yes. I think he's transferring from me over to Enabo Khan on the stage. So maybe that takes a bit of organization. Okay, we'll be waiting. I'm not sure if I'm on stage or if I'm in the holding room. I don't know, but
No, they sent a request. Try to rejoin.
do what? They have to rejoin. So we're in the holding,
No, let's see. Yeah.
or are we live?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Sorry.
Actually, we have lost them. Sherry still they are not even like.
Okay.
But we
So
do not
you're
have
fixing it,
signal.
right?
Okay, so I'm live
Okay.
or I'm in a holding
Okay.
room.
No, you are not live.
Okay.
I'm not live.
Actually, yeah, even
Okay,
we do not
thanks.
have the technical team from.
Their presentation. After which we'll have a few questions, and please feel free to share your questions. Put up your hand. We have a few questions here, but please feel free to raise up your hands or write down your questions, whatever it feels most comfortable. After their presentation, we'll go into the Q&A. Sounds good? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Scott, over to you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that introduction. All right, so who has the presentation? If someone could put it up, please. Robin, do you have that? Are you gonna put that up or sure, do you know if someone from your organization is gonna put it up?
Yeah, give me a minute. I have it. I'm opening it right now.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so they said they're working on it now. That
Okay.
just adds the next level of complexity.
It's all good. So
I have a lot of awe for IT people.
Yep, and I just want to remind everybody, we're talking about youth mental health. We're also talking about adult mental health. We all want to have good mental health, right? And the book that we've written is called Less Stress, More Joy. And this is a prime example that, this could be a very stressful situation, right? All the technology's got to be working and all the people around the world. This could be very stressful if we let it. But the point is it's not. It's a very enjoyable situation. I'm not feeling any stress right now, honestly. I'm hoping everybody that's with us is feeling joyful because it is a miracle. It is a miracle that we are all connected around the world. It is a miracle that the technology is working. It's a miracle that Sherry Knowles built the Kectil organization and has brought all of you together. It is a miracle that we're here tonight. That to me is a celebration. That to me is about joy. And I'm not feeling a bit of stress because I know we're going to have a great conversation tonight. And that's what Less Stress, More Joy is all about. That's what good mental health is all about. So we're going to we're going to walk you through a handful of slides and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So next slide, please. All right. The first thing I want to do before I tell you how to have lots more joy in your life, I want to do a little experience with you. And so first thing I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think of something stressful in your life. I want you to think of something. It could be something in your family. It could be something with a friend. It could be something in a job. But I want you to think of something that is really stressful, that is causing anxiety, that just is not a good thing in your life. Just think about it here, just for a little bit. But I just think about it, and I just want you to just put it in your mind and just feel it. And I'm gonna give you a few more seconds to do that. And I'm seeing a chat that I think we lost the audience. So are we on or are we not on?
You're not on at the moment.
No,
Okay.
we lost them. We lost them, Scott. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll just call them again.
That's fine. How about it, Sherry? You feeling less stress, more joy?
I loved reading your book. I can't tell you, and I already said I'm going to listen to it several times. It just gave peace to me just to read and practice all of the activities that you describe in your book. I'm feeling peaceful. We have wonderful people all over the world who are joining. What's better than that? And the fact that we can talk with people in Papua New Guinea and Atlanta and in all over the world is as you said, it's a miracle. So we should see what works right, and just be happy and just embellish that concept that this is working. So,
Love
Yeah,
it.
Sherry,
Right,
Sherry, they're
you're- that's so good.
they're doing it. They're
Okay.
fixing it now anyway.
Okay.
okay, yes, and I think it's great to just practice these activities. And what you're about to tell us today, I hope that the youth in Papua New Guinea, as well as everyone else who's listening, actually starts putting this into practice, because it can change their life.
Yeah, they're back. They're back.
I think we are back on.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you tell me where we lost you?
Just at the very beginning.
Okay.
Oh. So you want to, so should Scott start his slide deck again?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Okay. Happy
let's
to.
start over again.
Okay.
Take two.
Happy to do it. So I want you to appreciate the miracle we're in today. Some people might be feeling some stress because of the technology issues, the complexities of connecting people from all over the world. But the point of it is, we are here today. It's a miracle, and everybody should be feeling joyous. It is amazing what Sherry Knowles has built with the Kectil organization. Again, it is a miracle with all the different people she's connected with, and it's amazing the technology. It works. It may not work perfectly, but the fact that it even exists, it even works, to me is cause for celebration. I am not feeling any stress right now. I truly am not, because I know that this is going to be a magical time together. And because of that, I am feeling joy. And the goal today is to help you to appreciate how powerful your mind is and how you have really amazing control at every single moment of the day. If you want to make it a stressful moment, or if you want to make it a joyful moment. And we're going to show you how. So next slide, please. All right. So what I want you to do is to close your eyes. I'm gonna give you a real life example of how powerful your mind is. So I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think of something stressful in your life. It could be something going on with your family. It could be something going on with a friend. It could be something going on with your job. It could be school. It could be anything. I want you to just think about that for a moment. Think about how it makes you feel. Think about how bad it is, and just how you wish it didn't exist. That situation, that whatever it is that is causing the stress, just think about how it makes you feel. Just think about it here for a few more moments. Just take it in, and just embrace it. All right. Now I want you to open your eyes, and I want you to think about how it made you feel. So what I was introducing into your mind was some thoughts, and me, many thousands of miles away, I believe had the ability to impact your body the way you felt. And if you're like most people, when you think of something stressful, it probably made maybe your back tighten up. It made you feel kind of, your emotions maybe kind of sad. It just, but it physically impacts your body. And it's amazing how the mind, when it's thinking about things stressful, it literally does things to your human body. All right, I want to go to the next slide, please. And I want you to remember that feeling, because now I want you to close your eyes again. And I want you to think of something happy. I want you to think of something in your life that makes you smile. I want you to think of something that makes you feel good. Could again be with a family member, it could be with a friend, could be a sport you play, could be something you're learning in school, could be something you saw on TV, could be something you performed. But think about something that just makes you feel like life is wonderful. Just think about that. Just take it in. Just embrace it. Just to be a part of that. Just feel how that makes you feel so good. All right, I want you to open your eyes again. And I want you to appreciate, again, how your body reacted to that. What should have happened, if you're like most people, is the stress in your body, that your back tightening, all the different bad feelings you were feeling inside your body about a minute ago, hopefully kind of left. And hopefully you were feeling all this good stuff inside of you and feeling what we like to think of as joy. It's amazing how powerful your mind is. In a matter of just a minute or two there, hopefully you saw how your mind can make you feel bad because of thoughts and can make you feel good because of thoughts. And how again the mind literally makes your body feel different ways. And that's what we're all about with Less Stress, More Joy, and really with mental health. You have the ability to feel good as much as you want. You really, truly do. The question is, do you know how to do it? And we're going to show you one way here right now. So next slide, please. All right. So again, we've written this book called Less Stress, More Joy. What if you could feel less stress and more joy every day? That's the goal. It's not necessarily to feel joy every single minute of the day, even though that is the optimal. But what if you could feel 1% or 2% or 3% more joy every day, and 1% or 2% or 3% less stress? And what if you did that every day? 1% more, 1% more, almost like a bank account where you invest your money and you let the interest accrue it. You should feel tremendous amount of joy and really be able to get rid of most stress in your life if you practice it every day and you get a little better at it every day. So we're going to show you the principles of the peace, harmony, joy approach. And again, as Sherry was saying earlier, you can buy our book on Amazon.com. But this is a real approach that has helped many people around the world, and we're hoping it helps you today. So next slide, please. All right. So the first step is peace. Peace is the foundation. And if you want to have joy, if you want to live your best life, you've got to find ways to calm down. You've got to find ways to really just to get to a place where you are feeling tranquil, you're feeling even still, you're feeling at ease. And there's many ways to do that. Many people know about meditation. It's amazing how if you just take the time to be in a quiet place and literally just calm your mind. Breathing when you're doing meditation is a great way to calm your mind. So one way to find peace is to breathe and do it in a quiet place. By the way, you may not have a quiet place. You may be in a conversation. And it may not be a peaceful conversation, but if you breathe, it's amazing how your body, just like we did the experiences just a little bit ago, it's amazing how breathing can actually calm you, and your mind can control your body just by concentrating on your breathing. Some people find peace by doing nature walks. When you're out in nature, listen to the birds, smell the plants, look at all the beauty that's around you. That will probably have a good chance of bringing peace to you. Being humble and appreciating all the things in your life. When you feel like things are going bad, but you actually look at the things that are going good, that can bring you peace. Our book has many other ways to find peace. The point is simply this: if you want to have more joy in your life, you need to find more calm, and you need to just appreciate that you have the ability to actually feel calm anytime you like to. So peace is the foundation. Next slide, please. All right. So if you want to have joy, if you want to have that feeling that we were feeling when you're thinking about something really happening in your life, you want to have it consistently. Again, peace is the foundation. You've got to find a way to be calm. But we believe the bridge between peace and joy is a thing called harmony. And harmony is about understanding yourself. All right. So you're calm. And now you can actually think about, like, what are the things that make you happy? What are the things that are your gifts and your talents? Your parents, when you were young, may have told you not to do it for some reason, because maybe boys don't do this or girls don't do that. Your friends may have made fun of you. Your teachers may have said that that's not appropriate. But the point is, is being true to yourself. What is it that you like to do when you're a child? What is it like that you like to do now? And do it. So many people are doing jobs that they are not enjoying because their parents or their friends tell them that's what they should do to make a living. So many people are not enjoying are not doing the things that they truly have passion for. So the goal here is to really identify those things and connect with them and align with them and to do them. And once you are doing things that you're truly what you are passionate about, you will start to position yourself for many joyful experiences. So again, peace is the foundation. Again, find a way to get calm. Harmony is being true to yourself. And now you're positioning yourself for joyful experiences. So now I'm going to tell you how to finally have that ultimate consistent feeling that you had when we did that experience just a little bit ago. So next slide, please. All right. So joy is the culmination. And here's the thing, just because you're calm, just because you're being true to yourself, doing what you're passionate about, doesn't guarantee you joy. There's many people that are doing what they're passionate about and they're calm, but they're not feeling that the feeling that is a feeling of energy and a feeling of excitement. Probably the most important thing is to be in the moment. So the thing about joy is you cannot be worrying about the past. Like so many people are doing something that they're passionate about and they're doing it from a place of calm, but they're worried. They're thinking about, like, last time I did this, I messed up, or people made fun of me, or what happens if I do mess up, and what's it going to look like in the future? You can't be worrying about those things. You got to be in the moments. You got to just do it and just take it for what it is. It's a moment in time, and you are in this planet to make the most of that moment. And when you do that, you will feel energized, you'll feel powerful, you'll feel alive, you'll feel fulfilled. And I will tell you, this is probably the most important thing. Be in the moment, be in the present, appreciate every moment of your life the best you can. Don't be worrying about the past, don't be worrying about the future. Just be in the moment, and you will be amazed when you're in a place of peace, when you're doing the things that you were created to do, how you will have these consistent, joyful experiences. So with that, next slide, please. Robin's going to walk you through a real life example so that you can truly see how to utilize these peace, harmony, and joy approaches in your daily life. So Robin, take it away, please.
Thank you, Scott. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Oops, I'm getting some feedback here, but okay. No feedback on your part? You don't hear me? Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. I've just enjoyed hearing this process again, Scott, and sharing these thoughts with you. We've been doing it a long time, and it's just a joy to be in this groove together. So I just wanted to start by just asking you all to just begin by taking a moment and think of, what does peace look like to you? What does it feel like? What does it look like? I know we went through a little bit of a thing earlier, but what does it look like and feel like to you? And you could just think about that. To me, quiet, calmness, this sense of ease, this feeling of just breathy awe. And sometimes taking a first step into new territory can feel a little daunting because we bring our entire world with us. The cacophony, the chaos, the world that can be very busy, chaotic, noisy, stressful. We bring it with us and we say, how can we find a moment of peace? But that's really the greatest reason to begin a new experience and jumping into this peaceful, harmonious, joyful process. I'd like to read a definition of peace that I found that was really important. State of tranquility or quiet, completeness, soundness, well-being, the calmness experienced in the body, mind, and spirit while trusting in a divine power. And the only way that I find that you can get to this peaceful state is what Scott was referring to earlier, is being in the now. The now, this moment, this second. What are we bringing here with us into this moment? And the challenge is to provide a clearing, right? What not right now are we focused on? What are you focused on? Is your mind wandering? Are we thinking about the pressures we may be dealing with? I mean, I had coming into this panel, I had a lot of things going on, and I really had to work hard at ridding myself of a feeling of stress and you know, all of that. And I worked with it, and I'm here now in the moment, and this is the only way that peace can come, in my experience. Okay. Be in the now without distraction. And as this slide says, clear the mind and heart from all negative emotions if we can, but we only have the moment to do it. So what else are we going to do in this moment? Clear. Quiet down the noise and static in head and surroundings, and free yourself from all pressures and fears, obsessions and worries. Feel a deep calm and peace of mind. Breathe slowly. Breathe in, breathe out slowly. And now with that process, we're clear to focus and concentrate and becoming fully aware, wholeheartedly, whole mindfully available. In this picture here, I used to be a violinist long time ago, and this picture speaks to me because this picture shows a poised musician. In the background, you see all those swirly things going on. To me, it looks like the possibility of all the cacophony in the surrounding, but this violinist is poised to begin to play something. And the only way that that violinist can hear that tone within himself or herself is by being quiet. And that's it. Come to a state of where nothing exists except that no noise, and being poised to hear the tone within and then play it without. I guess the question is, am I available right now in this moment? And before we get to the next slide, I just want to say this quote, which is very meaningful for me in light of this definition of peace. When we get to that point where we are so fully in the moment, thinking of nothing except that peaceful state, the quote is, "Let the light within you be brighter than the storm outside of you." So with that, let's go to the next slide. Okay, let me just go here. Harmony. The definition of harmony, this is the bridge that Scott was speaking about. The definition I found that was meaningful is a positive state of inner peace, calmness, and balance, as well as the feeling of being attuned with the world within and without. Okay. I see it as taking God-gifted talents, gifts, passions, interests, and magnifying them, allowing them to grow within. And as they grow within, then we're going to find that it comes out. Body, mind, spirit, which are all aspects of who we are, working towards one purpose, and that's being in the groove, comfortable in your own skin. Harmony, I believe, requires utmost surrender. Okay? And if you look at the picture here, these are two musicians who are playing together. Their harmony might be two different notes, two different instruments. They are not the same, but they are complementing, right? And so they have to listen to each other, make sure that one is not playing more loudly than the other. It's all about complementation, and that's complementation with an E. Okay, so they are poised to express the notes being heard inside of themselves, to hear it, feel it, then bring it into focused expression. The musicians, they're poised in stillness, but they come together, each one diverse, and they are one body. They're part of an orchestra, and there is harmony. There's listening to others. There's playing their individual parts to make beautiful music together. No competition. Okay, they're in one clear mission and purpose. And this happens with us inside when we are all like oneness in body, mind, and spirit, in the most peaceful situation that we can find ourselves in the moment. This is what happens inside of us as well. And so if you look at the slide here, harmony is synchronization of mind, body, and spirit. It's an organization, it's harmony and order, and bringing it all together with one clear purpose. Next slide. Joy. So everybody wants to feel joy, right? You believe it's possible to experience joy? I don't know, I had a hard time with it in the past because I didn't understand what joy was. I thought it meant to be happy all the time. And I don't think that that's what joy is. Joy to me is a lasting emotion that comes from the belief that you will be fulfilled. There's a sense of awe, an all-encompassing connection within, a feeling of being at home with oneself and comfortable in my own skin in the moment. And this is not a conscious thing. I believe in my experience as well, and in the experience of others that I've spoken with, that joy just happens. It's an emanation from within of an incredible light, and sometimes it's undefinable, but it is an incredible sense of well-being. So it's kind of like feeling oneness with yourself and the world in a moment, and there's incredible power in feeling a sense of well-being and that sense that you are one with all. And I remember having that feeling one time. I was just driving in a car and I looked around at the people around me and I felt like I was in love with the world. And I had no idea where that came from, but I was just in the moment, the right time, and it just happened. And I still remember it. It was years ago, and it was just a sense that I had never felt before that deeply. And once I felt it, I knew that it was possible to have joy in my life all the time. So in this picture, I wanted to point out that this is a picture of an orchestra, the conductor, and the full audience who've experienced peace, harmony, and joy through music, basically. So the conductor focuses the musicians in robust expression. The audience receives it all, feels the room filled with joy. And that's what happens inside of us too, in those quiet moments and maybe not so quiet moments. And even sometimes the most challenging times of our lives, we can experience joy when we play our parts and hear the tones of peace and harmony within us. Next slide, please. So just in summary, we're looking at peace, harmony, joy, one spirit united within. It happens all at once sometimes. The world looks different. Everything changes in one moment. But you know what? It takes consistent practice, starting with me. Scott was referring to some of the practices to get to that place where you start the process of peace. Yoga, meditation, reading, going for a walk, playing with your dog or cat, having a great conversation with a family member or a friend. These are all part of the practice of making room within ourselves for peace, harmony, and joy. And these 4 points here, they're beautiful points. When we are in harmony with all these 3 aspects, we feel special and unique. And our spirit needs to create a full and joyful life. That is why we are here. That is it. And it all starts with us individually. It's our choice. It's our choice to be free within ourselves and in our worlds. And it is not difficult, but the world gets changed as we change in ourselves. And it's a beautiful place. And anyway, it's been my experience. So thank you, Scott. I will turn it over to you now.
All right, Robin, great job. Thank you. So we'll close it out with the handful of slides here. Next slide, please. So here's the thing. Once you're feeling peace, harmony, joy in yourself, again, you hopefully you appreciate again how powerful your mind is, how you can create this sense of great feeling inside of yourself. What's interesting is then you have the ability to actually create this great sense of feeling with your family and other people that are close to you. So, we talk about you never have to have a fight again from a peace perspective. If somebody says something mean to you, doesn't mean you have to say something back. I mean, if you're going to have peace, harmony, and joy with your family, no reason to ever fight again. Just doesn't mean you have to let them be mean to you, but it doesn't mean you have to. But you don't need to participate in a fight. You just be peace. The harmony part is to appreciate that everybody in your family is special and unique, and just like that orchestra, if everybody played the same instrument, the music wouldn't sound very good. Think of your family as a bunch of musicians. Everybody's playing different instruments. They have different perspectives, they have different talents, different gifts, and really try to get to appreciate them for who they are. I think you will find that your family, your relationships with your family will be more peaceful, harmonious, and joyful. And one of the examples we give in our book is this concept called listening from not knowing. So many people in their family, they've been hearing this family member say things and do things for so long that they know what that person's going to say before they say it. But here's a little trick for you. The next time you're in a conversation with that family member, act like you've never met them before. Act like it's the first time you've ever met someone in your family. It could be your mother, your father, your sister, your brother. Act like you've never met them before in your mind. Again, your mind's so powerful. And think about how it is when you meet somebody for the first time. You're curious. You listen to them deeply. You have no preconceived notions. You actually usually probably have a pretty joyful experience with them. You'll be amazed of this one little trick that we have in the book of how it actually can dramatically positively change your relationships with your family members. And again, the book has many other little tricks like that too. And just be in the moment with them and enjoy them. That's how you have peace, harmony, and joy with your family. Next slide, please. Teams. Again, orchestra is a team, there's sports teams, all these different teams. If everybody played the same position in sports, couldn't be a very good team. And all different sports, you need people who are faster, and you need people who are strong, and you need people that can do this and can do that. It's another example of having peace, harmony, and joy with your teams. First off, no reason to ever fight with them. They say something mean doesn't mean you got to say something back. So always start with the foundation, have peace. The harmony part is appreciating that everybody brings something special to the team. And you may not see it, but to pay more attention, because everybody is there for a reason. And to remind yourself, if everybody did the same thing, the team would not be successful. Strong teams are diverse, and they have people do different things, bring different perspectives, different talents to the team, and be in the moment with them. Enjoy them, truly enjoy those experiences with them. You can have so much success and so much, so much enjoyment out of the teams that you're on. Next slide, please. The workplace, again, same type of thing. No need to ever have a fight with anybody in the workplace. Peace is the foundation. Again, harmony is appreciating all the different talents and strengths that everybody brings. People come from different countries. People have different experiences. All those things make for a strong team, and take the time to learn them and appreciate them, and then be in the moment with your teammates. You'll be amazed how much success you will have in the workplace. Next, and how much joy you'll have. Next slide, please. And once you get good at it with yourself, once you get good at it with the people close to you, again, your family, your teammates, your people in your workplace, then you can actually start to see this unfold in your communities. Again, you have the power to influence your communities by just applying the peace, harmony, and joy approach. You have the power to, again, never have a fight with anybody in your community. Just because they look different or they think different doesn't mean you have to say something mean to them. Take the time. The harmony is about taking the time to get to know them. Get to know the people who are different. Get to know the people who are playing different roles in your community. You'll be amazed how much you actually have in common, and even the differences, how they actually make the community better and more special, and just appreciate them in the moment. But this is working in communities all over the world now, and you have the ability, if you want to apply these principles and work on them, to truly have an impact on people who you don't even know. Next slide, please. And then it gets around the world. You should know that the organization that we formed based on the book is called the Peace, Harmony, and Joy Alliance. And our mission is peace on earth. And you might think that's impossible, but we believe that is very doable. And if you think about it, if every single person on this planet knew these principles, if every single person on this planet was feeling lots of peace, harmony, and joy in themselves, if they never fought with each other, if they appreciated each other, if they really truly are having joyful experiences with each other, we would have peace on earth. And that's why so many people are joining our movement, are joining our organization, because they are learning that this is possible. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the butterfly effect, but the butterfly, when it flaps its wings, it actually has an effect on people in places all over the world. You have that ability too. You have the opportunity to truly change the world by how you feel and how you act. And the peace, harmony, and joy approach, we believe, is something that that you can use to make the world a better place. Next slide, please. Again, our book is called Less Stress, More Joy. You can get it on Amazon.com. And you can also join our joyful journey at peaceharmonyjoy.org. Next slide, please. Then that's it. So, Sherry, back to you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Scott. I'm feeling better already. I'm just feeling more calm and more at ease. We need to be in a Zoom with you every morning where we just go through that exercise. Thank you so much. We have two other panelists. I'm going to turn it back to Enabo Khan, and she's going to introduce the other two panelists, and they're from Papua New Guinea, and they're going to be talking about youth mental health.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you so much, Mr. Scott Frank and Robin Joseph. Very beautiful, very mindful session that we've just gone through. Now, remember that we had the little game where we talked about all the stressors, the trauma, the bad experiences that we have felt, people who have struggled with different mental health situations. And it's just to show that really in a world where there's chaos, right? There's a lot of difficulty, challenges. When you turn on the news, you hear a lot of bad news, right? A lot of things that are kind of just threatening your personal mental health. So these strategies are supposed to help you, how to sieve out the negativity and build a wall of positivity around yourself. How do you adopt a peace, harmony, and joy approach just to manage these stressors, right? So that we can also ensure that our mind has control over our body, our situations, our circumstances. We can choose joy, even though there's chaos. We can choose harmony. We can choose peace. So these are kind of the coping strategies that we can adopt because, again, there are not many things. You cannot change everything, right? We can't stop the wars. We can't stop the conflict. We can't stop the famine in different parts of the world. But if we adopt some of these strategies, it will help us, remain healthy, even in our own minds. So very beautiful. And I think that these strategies will also help with the epidemic of mental health challenges we're having, right? Because you hear that different people develop different mental health situations, anxiety, depression, panic attacks, personality disorders, all sorts of things, right? But if we try to at least control what we can, that is our response to situations, what we allow to sit in our minds, that is a way to also keep us healthy because we have to be healthy to help others. Now let's look at the Papua New Guinea context, right? Are there cultural beliefs and practices that might impact the mental health of youth in PNG? Are there things that they do that can, impact their mental health negatively? And what can we do, to also take control of that? What do you think?
Thank you for the question. That's such a large question because Papua New Guinea is filled up with so many different cultures, so many different beliefs as well. To categorize it and try to find one single way to address everything would be very, very difficult because we all have different, like we said, we're all unique. We have different backgrounds, we have different skills, we have different journeys, we have different communities. But in saying that, we do rely heavily on our culture, our beliefs, and it does drive a lot of what we have today. I'll just give a quick context for men's mental health. The role of masculinity. In our communities, in our culture in Papua New Guinea, we're told that as young men, we're not allowed to show weakness. We're not allowed to open up to those around us, maybe to our spouses, to our friends, to our family. We're not allowed to look weak. And that's one of our PNG cultures where if you are seen as weak, you're not considered a leader. You're not considered as someone that people can go to. But if we have to change that sort of masculinity and redefine it, it is okay to open up and talk about issues. It is okay to admit that you're not feeling too well. It is okay to talk about issues that you're facing. Maybe you're having some anxiety, maybe having some depression. Maybe you have to find the network of people that you can speak to. Because speaking to a lot of young men, they bottle everything up inside. And that turns into other avenues for it. They might turn to aggression. They might turn to substance abuse. They might turn to violence because they have no other avenue to release those thoughts, those feelings that they're having deep inside. So that's one. Another aspect is that as culturally, we feel that we want to connect with people and we don't want to be in a situation where people know or have negative thoughts about us. Judgment. Quick raise of hands. How many of you guys are afraid of judgment if someone else judges you? Please raise your hand. Yes, see, majority of the room raise their hands. One of our cultures that we are people that like to connect. As Papua New Guineans, we like to connect, we like to socialize, we like to bond together. But on the other side, we see that we don't want people to have negative judgments about us. We want to be seen in a positive light. So we don't want to admit that we're going through struggles. We don't want to admit that we may not be able to find a job. And that links back to something called limiting beliefs. So limiting beliefs is something I came across when I worked with various indigenous business owners across the Pacific. And it's limiting beliefs that are false beliefs about ourselves that are not true. Let me give an example. When people tell you that you'll never be successful, that is a limiting belief. That because you're from a certain region, you cannot have a certain job. You'll not be able to start a business because you're an introvert. These are all limiting beliefs that are holding you back from your full potential. And these are not real. They're all fake. And yes, peace, love, and joy is very important. And I believe that something to add on to that is also, how do you change the dialogue in your mind? We have negative thoughts around 95% of the day. So how do you change those negative thoughts and make it into a positive? How do you adapt a situation when a negative thoughts come into your mind? How do you change that in that instant? Or what are some ways that you can trigger yourself to turn that negative into a positive? I'll just leave it there, and then we can go to one of the other speakers.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Brian. Nice. I love our audience. They're active. Let's keep up the energy. And then please also do have your questions ready because we need to take them in a short time from now. So please have your questions ready. Signal to our volunteers at the back, and then just let them know you have a question so that you have the mic and ready to go. So we can make the most of the time that we have. I just have a short follow-up question to you, Mr. Brian. How about the use of, like substance abuse, like, stimulants, psychoactive agents, which contributes to, mental health challenges in Papua New Guinea? Because we talked about a healthy mind, right? How do we keep out the negative energy and those negative thoughts and just being sharp and ready to go? But these psychostimulants, they also have a negative impact in the long run. So initially they make you feel happy, they make you feel high, make you, active for the day. But how does that impact you on overall in the long term? What would you say to that?
Thank you. Another great question. So substance abuse. A lot of people turn to, I'll just give one example first, alcohol. A lot of people turn to alcohol because they want to numb the pain that they feel inside. Most people turn to alcohol as a way of release, but that in the long run is not healthy. You're actually not dealing with the situation. You're actually hiding it and trying to numb that pain. You have to go through it. You have to deal with it. You have to understand that this is not something that you can just sweep under the rug and you'll go away. It'll always be there. And that's when addiction comes into play. Once your body is used to taking a substance to numb the pain or to hide the problems that you're facing, you'll be more and more addicted to taking it. And there was a question that was brought up as betel nut in Papua New Guinea. They say that betel nut is also an addiction. And I know in some cultural context, betel nut is seen as our cultural way of coming together to socialize, as a way of ceremony, but it also is an addiction. Some people take betel nut in the morning to get through the day. That is a sign of addiction. Some people take betel nut during lunch hours or in the afternoon to get that high and that energy because they don't have the energy to take on the rest of the day. Then you look at the health issues. Betel nut mixed with lime and the mustard leaf then becomes something that can lead to cancer. Constantly chewing, because of this addiction, can lead to cancer, can lead to health issues, can lead to spread of TB. So yes, I've had this discussion before around betel nut because this is like something that most of us have taken, or we know that it's taken like in consideration as a cultural way as well, but it's also seen as an addiction. It's also a drug, and it's addictive. A drug is something that if you try to withstand and say, okay, I'm not going to take it tomorrow, if your body starts to crave it, that's an addiction. It can be also seen with technology. If you move away from technology and I tell you to put away your phone for one whole day, it's an addiction because you'll be like, no, I need to use my phone. I feel empty, I feel naked. That's an addiction. Once your body craves something and it needs it constantly, that's when addiction kicks in. And I believe that that is something that we have to also address, that no addiction in the world can remove your problems and your pain. What you have to do is you have to go through it. You have to go through the process of processing those issues, processing those thoughts, and turning those thoughts into positives, knowing that you are unique, you have qualities that someone else doesn't have. You may be a solution, or you may innovate a solution that somewhere else in the world may need. So we need you, we need your voices, we need you to be able to share with us your stories, your journeys, because each of you are unique. Each of you have skills and talents that we all need to benefit from as well. And I'll leave it there as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brian. Fantastic. I think mental health is so broad, right? There are so many aspects of it. One of the key things you have talked about is the substance abuse, which is very key. We have to be very careful about what we put into our body. Anything can become addictive. Caffeine, coffee, any other thing that we take locally, that becomes addictive can harm you physically, not just your mind, but your physical body. And like you talked about, better or not, you said, you can actually, yes, it causes mouth cancer. And you know how cancer is up to today, even with all of the research, science and everything, we don't have cures, right? So you don't want to develop cancer, for example, because of something you do for fun. So those are the kind of things that we can think about. You also mentioned the excessive use of social media, technology. That's also an important aspect as well. Young people, we are always on our phones. We are always checking what our friends are doing and things like that. But that can also impact our mental health, right? Because we can get to a point where we are just comparing, oh, everybody else is doing so well. Why am I struggling so much? Why is my own life like this? And it just kind of brings you down. And then people have actually committed suicide because of the things that they saw on social media, or because they were bullied on social media. Because again, people can be bullied on social media. People have a lot of negative comments. They're insulting you, trying to like bully you, make you feel very bad. People have actually taken their lives because of that. So that's one way of also protecting your mental health is, using social media responsibly, using it the right way, and just dedicating the right time to it. Now, please, may I turn to Mr. Scott Frank? A lot of young people may be in, dysfunctional families where the family dynamics is not so good. Maybe parents are divorced. There's a lot of disharmony in those types of situations. How do we use the peace, harmony, joy approach to really maintain our mental health if young people find themselves in those types of situations, or even if it's just a community where there's a lot of conflict and clashes? How do we protect our mental health and make sure that we are not impacted by all the things that are happening around us? Mr. Scott, please.
It's a great question. I think the first thing is just to realize that you do have control over your mind, and just strongly encourage you to not let the negative things that these people are saying and doing to you affect, again, your body. You saw in our little experience we did earlier how letting things into your mind can I said words and your body felt different ways. Learn how to not let what other people say that could be hurtful to you. Learn how to not let that get into your mind and hurt you. That is a big thing. Your mind is powerful, and you do not have to, just because someone says something to you, don't have to let that into your mind and let it hurt you. You could they're just words. I think that's something very important. I think when you do that, again, you can feel peace in yourself, and you can actually feel peace with others when you do that. What other people say, what other people do, as long as they're not physically harming you, they're simply words. And you have the ability to, again, not say mean words back to them. You have the ability actually to say something nice to them, to try to understand them. Like, why are they saying these things? What's going on? By the way, if they're doing something mean to you, if they're doing things that you don't understand, that seem irrational, they're probably doing it to other people too. So remind yourself, people in your family, people who are close to you, have a lot of things going on, and try not to take it personally. Try to understand what's going on, and it just when you have this in your mind that everybody in your life is here for a reason, that everybody is going through their own different journeys, and that you can help them. I think it will actually help you to develop these peaceful, harmonious, joyful relationships. May not be easy, and sometimes family relationships are the hardest. However, I strongly encourage you to just stay calm and take the time to understand, and you will be amazed how you can actually transform your family relationships. We've had so many people part of the Peace, Harmony, and Joy Alliance that are truly having very different types of family relationships than they used to have. I encourage you to try these principles with yours.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Mr. Brian, you want to speak about the social media excessive use? What is the situation like in Papua New Guinea?
Social media. So that's an interesting one. So I've seen that social media has been used to destigmatize what mental health is. Examples, I have seen multiple webinars, community groups formed online where people have come together to voice their opinions on mental health. But there's also another side of social media that I've seen that also has caused a problem. With the use of social media and technology, I've seen a rise of anxiety, depression, isolation. After COVID, I realized that there was a large amount of challenges that came up. Since we kept staying at home and we started using technology, people started to feel isolated. They felt like they couldn't connect with others. And that was a rise and cause of anxiety, the worrying of what's going to happen in the future. So there's two sides of technology. We have used it to destigmatize what mental health is, especially in our country. I've seen so many webinars happening online, universities, various NGO groups in the communities, using social media as a way to connect in different provinces across our country. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of increase in anxiety, depression, isolation, because we need human connection. We need physical connection. We want to speak to people in person because you want to know that impact, that being connected to more people. And that is also something that I've seen that has been on the rise, isolation. We tend to, because we use technology, we are always distant from each other. And then we don't really build a strong connection or bond that we used to have back in the day. And that's where social media has come into play and technology. But at the same time, technology has allowed us to reach out and connect with people from across the world. We've been able to have people that share information that we may have never reached in our communities or in our country. We've gotten experiences from people that are more skilled in certain areas, have walked different journeys and different lives that we can take back and also share in our spaces as well. So I think social media and technology has been good, but there is also a side of technology which has also caused increase in issues amongst young people. It has also affected suicidal rates. It has increased it because of the depression, anxiety, and isolations, because of the harassment that people face online. And the opening up of everything that we are, comparison. A lot of people today like to compare, saying, I do not have something that someone else has. I see someone with a nice clothes. They're like, oh, I don't have that. They come from a nice family. I say, I may not have that. And then that sense of comparison comes into play, which becomes an issue because once you start comparing yourself, it turns into something that is very negative. But you must realize that you are unique, that your story, your journey, your voice matters, that each and every one of you has a story to tell, has a journey to tell. And you are placed on this earth for that journey. You're there to share with us. So do not repress your voices. Do not think that your story is not worth sharing. Each and every one of you has a story to tell. And that's why you're here. And that's why I want to make sure that using mental health awareness is to help young people to be empowered and to know that they are not alone. We're all in this together. And if we form a strong community of support, we can get through this together. We're never alone. We're always here to support. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we cannot talk about mental health without talking about the stigma that is associated. That's just still a very big topic for many countries among young people. So we are going to ask Ms. Robin, what are the strategies to overcome mental health stigma? And then we come to you, Mr. Brian. Shortly after that, we'll take questions on the floor. So please have your questions ready so we can take like 2, 3 questions if we have them. Ms. Robin, please, if you could also speak about mental health stigma. Many young people have concerns about voicing whatever challenges they might be facing because they don't want to be stigmatized. They don't want to be seen as different or abnormal. Well, what would you say is the best way to approach this? Do you have any suggestions or advice for the young people? Thank you.
I'll just tell you a little bit about an experience I had. So a while ago, I taught at an alternative school for kids in Ontario. And this school was set up as a last resort before jail for these kids. So they had addiction problems, they had mental health issues, they had learning disabilities. They were not functioning in a normal society, okay? They were problems. My experience, what I did was to find ways to allow them to see the beauty and the light inside of them, that which was right. So I provided opportunities for them to present themselves without judgment, with care. You know, I helped them just feel comfortable so that they could begin. So I would draw out from them that which was right. The word education comes from educo, which is a draw forth. So when you educate, you're drawing something so that they can see the beauty, what's right in them, and what's wrong is beside the point. And, you know, to the point that was said earlier about addiction, you know, addiction is a lonely state of being. It is a feeling of disconnection, as was said. And so if you give kids or young adults the opportunity to feel connected, and there are many ways to do that. There are, you know, they're therapists, they're educators, they're all that, to see that they are valued and valuable in the world. I think that's the challenge. But they have to see it, or they have to want to see it themselves to get out of that whirlwind state that they keep finding themselves in and doing everything to keep themselves in it. So, I mean, that may be a sophomoric answer, but it was my experience when I was working with these kids who had a really tough time with society. And there was a great success rate because the teachers, we just really went deep with them so that they could see their value and worth.
Thank you so much, Ms. Robin. Mr. Brian?
So I'll just touch on one stigma and I'll just share some experiences because I know that you might want to hear about what is actually happening. How can you actually address it in our country at the moment, and what are some programs that are actually being done? So one of the biggest stigmas is that when you hear the word therapist, counselor, all of a sudden people are like very defensive. I've seen people say, "Oh, you might need to see a therapist. You might need to go and see a counselor," and straight away they'll be like, "No, it's okay. I'm fine. I don't want to." That stigma of feeling that if you go and see someone to talk about your issues, it's seen as I have a disease. I am different. I am not worth like the same as anyone else. And I've seen this so many times when I ask young people, you may need to go and see a therapist because there's only so much that information I can do. And I'm very wary as well because what I say may influence you and you may go down a path that I am not an expert in. So there is some information that only a therapist, only a counselor can help you with. And as soon as I say that, all of a sudden they turn very defensive. They're like, "No, I'm okay. That's fine. Thank you for suggesting it, but I won't speak to anyone." And that's the stigma. We feel that we can't go to anyone to talk about this issue. We can't go to a professional because we worry that that professional might say this information out to other people, even though there is a privacy law where they are not allowed to share that information with anyone else, this disclosure agreements. But when you hear those words, the first thing that comes to mind is that, no, I am not from a mental institute. I've heard people that say that I'm not crazy. I am not someone that needs this sort of information. I don't need to see a counselor. I shouldn't be put in a ward. I shouldn't be treated differently. So that's the first defensive response that a lot of people have. And one way that we've done some initiatives, I work with various organizations, and one way that we did it was we used, for men, I'll just specify on men's mental health, we used a barbershop initiative. So what this was that me and the team, we went and we trained barbers in barber shops to cut your hair. We trained them on ways and techniques to get people to speak and to connect with them. So when you go to a barber, they normally ask you questions. Hey, how's your day doing? How's the family? It's good to see you again. So that became an initiative where you don't have to tell people that you're going to counseling. You're allowing barber shops, hairdressers to be able for you to talk about your issues indirectly. If we said that was counseling, you'd be very defensive. But we trained these barbers to go out and cut young men's hairs. And they started to see that they were more interactive. They were discussing issues, and they were saying, "Oh yes, I'm having trouble at home with my wife and my kids, and I'm going through these depression states." And they, "Oh no, it's okay, my brother." We started to encourage each other. So that was an initiative that we created to allow for men to open up and talk about it without the stigma around going to a therapist, going to a counselor. It was just a conversation to allow them to air their thoughts. And they found that these people used to always go back to the same barber shop over and over because they developed a connection with that barber to be able to just talk about their issues, to be able to find a way to vent and process their thoughts, even for ladies as well. The reason why I focused on men is that it's very hard for men to open up. But for a lot of ladies, if you go to a salon to get your hair done, the ladies talk. They're like, "Oh, how are you today, dear? Yes, I'm okay. Oh, it's good to see you. How's your week been?" And they just start talking. For men, it's very difficult to open up and talk about this. So we created this initiative and we ran it out, and we're hoping to get more barbershops involved so we can help raise mental health awareness through barbershops, through different avenues. We have to think innovative. We have to think of ideas that have not been done before, ways that is not negative. Because when you associate certain things to negativity, you must change that in your mindset. If you hear the word example, I'll just give an example. If you hear the word when someone tells you have a weakness, you need to work on this weakness, all of a sudden your mind triggers you to say that is negative. So I don't use the word weakness. I use the word areas for growth. When you say areas for growth, say, "Oh, sorry, sir, you have some areas to grow in." It sounds more positive, doesn't it? It becomes something that it helps your brain to process and to change the dialogues in your mind. Simple words, simple vocabulary that you use. If you use a certain vocabulary, it can trigger a negative response in your thoughts. So just simply by changing your vocabulary, it can make it a positive one. Another one is that if you're not really skilled at a skill set just yet, you can say that you incorporate the word yet. Say, "Yes, I am not skilled yet." When you say yet, it triggers your mind to understand that I am working on it. I am processing it. I am not defeated. Other words like failure, these are negative words that associate to negativity. So changing these words, changing your vocabulary can help you to address issues in your mind, because your mind is a battlefield. We have thousands and thousands of thoughts, and we have to be able to process our thoughts and be able to change those dialogues and go through techniques to understand how can I use certain vocabulary to trigger a positive response and not just a negative one. Thank you. I think I diverted from the topic.
Great discussions, everyone. So we turn it up to questions. Do we have any questions or contributions? We have someone, yeah, we do have, yes, so we have to go quickly. So please, can I ask, because we have a couple of questions on the floor, can you just go straight to give your name, and if you want to share your institution, straight to the question or the comment, so that we can go take as many as possible? Sounds like a plan? Yeah. So we have a couple of hands. Let's see how fast we can go. Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay, let's see how fast we can go. Yep. Do we have a couple of more mics to go around?
Just
Okay.
Hello, my name's Melody. My question is, does one's childhood or upbringing affect one's mental health as they progress in life? And if so, this upbringing may affect their perception or outlook in life. And if it's unhealthy, how to
Sorry,
change?
ma'am. Can't really hear you
okay.
properly.
My question
now. Yeah.
My question is, does one's childhood or upbringing affect one's mental health as they progress in their life? Yeah.
Okay.
And if so, how can they change their perception if it's unhealthy.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Brian, do you want to go for it?
I wasn't able to hear anything, but I just wanted to just clarify. So you're saying that when you're with your childhood upbringing, the challenges, yes, really, sorry.
So what I'm asking is basically, does one's childhood or upbringing, does it affect their mental health and their outlook in life?
Okay, no, thank you. Thank you for that question. And I've done some studies around mental health and mindset. And by the age of 7, that is when our minds absorb a lot of the beliefs around us. So as children, that's why when parents say that you have to be very careful of what you say around your kids, is because our kids, by the age of 7, absorb all of the information that they said to them. A lot of the beliefs that we have as adults have been triggered or subconsciously being in our minds since the age of 7. But in saying that, we can reprogram our minds, we can reprogram our upbringings and make it a better one. It's where we have to turn the negatives into positives. And there's some techniques as well to unfix that sort of mindset and to be able to process it as well. Maybe I can speak to you later and I can go through it in detail of how we can develop that and to give you the strategies of how to change those sort of mindsets as well. But it is possible. It doesn't matter what your upbringing was and where you're born and where you started. There is always a way to develop and improve it. And there is techniques that you can develop to try and change that sort of mindset, to change those limiting beliefs, to change the limiting beliefs into positive, saying that I am not the outcome of my circumstances or my upbringing. I am my individual person, and who I surround myself with, the information, the thoughts, and the way I can conduct myself and think can change the destination that I'm going to as well. But I hope that answered your question.
Thank you so much. Next question. Well, we have a lot of questions. Yeah. Give us a question. Let's go for it as fast as we can.
Thank you, panelists. I have a question here. This question directly goes to Mr. Brian. So you touched a bit about our cultural context of Papua New Guinea. So I will go a bit related with the way our society, our PNG society, view men's mental health. My question is, what is one of the fundamental aspects to approach and overcome barriers of mental health that are part of our culture and society's views? Pardon.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. And I'm actually getting quite winded because there's a lot of questions, a lot of information. To change that, I believe that with society, they view us in a certain aspect. And what we need to do is that we need to understand that what is happening globally may not be what we can implement locally. So we can sort of have a way that we approach it, which is best for our cultural perceptions and pretense as well, and to adapt it in a way where we need to have more dialogues. We need to be able to openly speak about this. I've seen young ladies who are leading the charge on men's mental health, and people are making questions saying, why are women taking the charge in men's mental health? But they want to support men. It's not just men supporting females, but also females want to support men to allow them a space to be able to share their thoughts. Because as we said, both genders go hand in hand. We support each other. If men support women, women also support men in all aspects of life, at the home, mentally as well. We support each other in all aspects. And I believe that having more dialogues, having more discussions around destigmatizing some of these concepts that we hear globally that may not relate to us locally, and contextualizing it into ways and words or understandings that us as locals in our community can really understand and grasp. Maybe destigmatizing the words. Sometimes the words that we use sounds very high-end, and that maybe we need to categorize it and use other words that mean the same meaning, but maybe for our communities to understand that this is not something new, this is not something that is trying to make them feel sort of discredited, but using the right terminologies and right words that understand that we can all understand the message as well. I do hope I answered your question with that one. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brian. I think what we have experienced today just shows how big and how broad the topic of mental health is. We can't exhaust it, but what luckily we have two experienced, mental health coaches, people who are experienced with mental health online. We have their contact information. It's easy to come across, get across to them and chat to them with these topics. We also have Mr. Brian here, who is going to be very busy during lunch, because I know that a lot of people are going to come to him and ask him all these questions. So it's good that we have all of these resources, and we are hoping that through this conversation, we have been able to kickstart or, open up an important conversation, a line of communication about youth mental health. So I've just received signal that unfortunately, we have run out of time, but it's not the end of the conversation. Mr. Brian is here in person with us, and we have Mr. Scott Frank online. We have his contact details. We have Ms. Robin Joseph. We also have our contact details. So please feel free to come to us with these questions, and we are quickly able to communicate the questions to them, and they'll get back to you as soon as possible. Does that work? I know it's not the best, but it's a conference, so we have to, let's go to the next session, and then we can always pick up the conversation from here. Thank you so much, Mr. Brian. Thank you, Mr. Scott Frank and Ms. Robin. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Annie Bokun and Mr. Brian Els, for the informative insights into our youth's mental health issues. All right, just a few pointers to wrap up what they've mentioned. Our mind is the most dangerous weapon in mankind. You either choose to build yourself or destroy yourself. For instance, if you hate a teacher, you will end up failing that particular course. If you intend to be a rich person, you don't have to be literate. You don't have to be educated for it. You can end up driving a Lamborghini at the end of the day. So our mind is the most powerful weapon. And it goes to show that if you let your mind dictate your life, it can be dangerous at times. Sometimes you just have to let your heart speak for itself. Because most of the beautiful things in life are not perceived by the mind, but are felt by the heart. With that, I would like to invite the mistress of ceremony to come up and lead you guys into the next part of our session. Thank you.
Sorry, guys. Hi. We're gonna go for a quick 10 minutes break, and yes, use the time to grab something to eat, coffee, go to the restroom. Please relieve yourselves. I know you've been sitting since morning, and yes, we're all very tired. So, has anyone stretched this morning? No? Now is the time for you to do stretches. Stand up. We don't have time. Go grab yourself something to drink, use the restroom, and make it back here in the next 10 minutes. Thank you.